All right, guys. Well, happy Thanksgiving, first of all. So excited for football. So much to get to. Ravens finally have what feels like a playoff game tonight, even though the Bengals are 3-8. So I want to get to the Ravens here in a minute, but I do want to start. Not to go on too long of a tangent here, but it's been a few years now having this business, and I just want to make sure I thank everybody. It is Thanksgiving, so appreciate everybody that listens. If I've helped at all, that makes me happy. The business didn't exactly take off the way I wanted it to take off, but that's okay. I'm still having fun. I'm learning a lot, and yeah, it's not paying the bills, but that's totally fine. And you make adjustments in life. But if I wasn't enjoying it, I still wouldn't be here, frankly. So I appreciate whoever listens. And if I've helped at all, yeah, then great. So let's keep it rolling. Packers are playing Lions. I think I've said now for the better part of a month with both these teams that I didn't want to analyze either team until today because I felt like, both teams are just up and down, up and down. Couldn't really get a good handle on them. Now that they're here, now that they're playing, all the momentum would be favoring Green Bay coming into this game if you just want to base it on last week. Packers dominated the Vikings. They were at home. They felt good about it. And the Lions struggled with the Giants, really got lucky to win that game in overtime. So the spread comes out. It's only 2.5. It might go up to 3, depending on, when people start betting this morning, because I do think the logic could say the Packers on a neutral field. And maybe if you get deeper into the analytics, you look at the first week of the season, Packers destroyed the Lions. But there's something just wrong with the Packers offense that I think needs an offseason to get fixed. The defense is hit or miss. I think the defense is above average. It's a really tough ask for the defense on a road game on a Thursday, in Thanksgiving against the Lions in a dome. So if it was a different matchup for the Packers, I'd be okay with it. But the defense, I think, is going to have a hard time slowing down the Lions, which means the game comes down to the Packers on offense. And I just can't get behind what they're doing. I just don't trust Jordan Love back there. Feels like the play calls are all over the place. They don't really have an identity. And they beat up on the teams at home that they're supposed to, minus the Panthers. But this game just feels tricky to me. It feels like the Lions defense is going to get after them. So I'm going to fade the Packers today. I got the under with the Packers. I got the under for the game because if the Packers do win, I think it's to be because the Lions can't get going offensively. It took the Lions way too long to get rolling against the Giants. They turned the ball over. They haven't looked great. The offensive line could struggle against the Packers pass rush. So my hedge for that game is the under for the Packers and the under for the total. But I do like the Lions minus the 2.5. So trying to get the voice back here. But can't wait for that game. I wouldn't say it's the strongest pick in the world. I do like the Cowboys more than I like the Lions. So I like the Cowboys a lot. The Cowboys are getting 3.5 against the Chiefs. Feels very similar to last week when I said I like the Colts plus 3.5 against the Chiefs. Colts were on the road. Now the Chiefs are on the road against the Cowboys. I didn't see anything from last week that would make me think the Chiefs should be favored by more than, 1 or 2 points here today. So 3.5 points feels like a gift. I assume the Chiefs are going to score. That's why I hedged it with the over in the total. So I got over 52.5. I do have the Cowboys being able to, I think they should get over their total, but if I'm wrong about it, 24.5 was it was a big number. I felt like, even though I think the Cowboys are going to get over that number, it wasn't enough for me to bet it. So I do think if the game, is going to go over and the Cowboys get over that number, it'll push the game total over. So anyway, I went 52.5 over, and then I got the Cowboys plus 3.5. And what I really like about the Cowboys going into this game is I think the Cowboys are going to come out super aggressive, and the Chiefs' defense hasn't faced the passing attack like the Cowboys are going to offer here in a hot minute. Even though the Chiefs have lost some games and they've had some battles, this Cowboys passing attack is a huge upgrade from these past couple games the Chiefs have played where with the Broncos and the Colts, just subpar quarterback play. Dak's playing great, so I think it puts pressure on the Chiefs defense. That's why I like the game to go over, because if the Chiefs are going to win this game and really, win by more than 3.5 points, it's going to be because the Cowboys can't get off the field. The Cowboys got bailed out by the Eagles last week. looked like the Eagles were on route to put up 35, 40 points, and then they just kind of shot themselves in the foot. So I don't know if that was more the Cowboys defense or more the Eagles offense screwing up. So I'm going to favor the Chiefs offense tonight, but I don't think 3.5 points. I just think that's too many. And I don't know if the Chiefs are going to stop the Cowboys. So the ramifications of this game are pretty simple. The Cowboys can't make the playoffs if they lose this game. It's almost virtually impossible. If they win, they still have to play the Lions next week. They still have a tough schedule, but they're definitely alive. The Chiefs are alive if they lose. It doesn't cancel them out of the playoffs. And if they win, it certainly doesn't put them in the playoffs. So the Chiefs still have a lot to be determined. They obviously need to win this game. It feels like a must-win for them, but more so for the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to be desperate. I think the Cowboys will come out and get a couple big plays. So I got the Cowboys tonight plus 3.5. I got the Lions minus 2.5. The only prop that I went with was Jameson Williams, the receiver on the Lions, to go over his 54.5 receiving yards. He feels like he doesn't get used a lot, maybe too much attention. Today goes to Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I just really like Jameson Williams. So 54.5 receiving yards is the one prop, that I like for today. And all right, so I'm going to do about 5 minutes here on the Ravens because I've been reluctant to analyze too much about what's been happening with the Ravens over the past month, because it just feels like every game was, if they lose this game, is the season over? Do they have to fire the coach? Do they have to make all these structural changes? So I don't know if anybody else was feeling this way, but I kind of felt like, man, they might just lose one of these games and then all hell can break loose. But they didn't lose. They just kept winning, but they also didn't win in a fashion that makes you super comfortable or confident moving forward. So what to make of the Ravens when they're 6-5 and now they have 6 playoff games in a row? Like, that's just basically what the rest of the season looks like, because they're going to play the Bengals tonight. And yeah, the Bengals are 3-8, and you would think, well, they can't, what are you supposed to do at 3-8? But Burrow comes back and Chase comes back. And if they win 6 in a row and they're 9-8, it might be 50-50 whether or not they make the playoffs. So they're going to play like it's a playoff game, and that's all that really matters. It doesn't matter whether or not anybody thinks the Bengals have a chance. I think you're going to get the best version of Cincinnati tonight. They almost have won what feels like 3-4 games in a row now between the Jets, the Bears, and the Patriots last week. So what to make of the game tonight? What are the Ravens going to do? Is Lamar okay? Is Lamar healthy? Figuring out Lamar is impossible, so I'm not even going to worry about that. I'll just, whatever I see, whatever I get is what I get from Lamar. What I'm curious to see is the offensive line really this bad, or is it a product of, maybe playing down to the competition, maybe still trying to get their feet under them? Maybe we actually do need to make some changes. I think tonight is one of those nights where, it's national television, it's Thanksgiving, you're home, you're playing such a bad defense that you should be able to lean on them. It's a good night for the Ravens offensive line to get momentum. I'm less concerned about Lamar's performance tonight as far as, whether or not he's running and taking off versus are we just moving guys off the line? Because now we're getting down to the end of the year, and if the Ravens are going to win, they're going to have to get 2nd and 6, 3rd and 3, and then once it's 3rd and 3, I still think we're the best team in the NFL. So what always kicks the Ravens' ass offensively is turnovers, sacks, penalties, the obvious things that kill every team. But the Ravens stay on schedule, and it's a must-win situation. It's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 tonight. There's no way Cincinnati can stop us. There's just too many weapons between the tight ends, the receivers, the running backs. We don't have to go through all their names, but there's just too many guys. There's too many people for almost every single team to stop us, but especially the Bengals. So the only thing that is up for debate, is up for concern tonight, is whether or not the Bengals are going to get off the line and be able to put pressure on Lamar and be able to stuff the run. Because I'm telling you, you're going to get the best version of Cincinnati tonight, whatever that means. So what about on the other side, right? When the Bengals have the ball, this is where I can't wait to watch every play, rewind it, look at every little thing that happened, because the Ravens for the past 5 games have played I don't know what's like almost the worst quarterbacks you can think of. Caleb Williams was in there, and we got off the field. There was 2 touchdowns that maybe 2 touchdown drives turned into 2 field goals, so that was a win. And I don't know how great Caleb Williams is, but they beat him. But then the rest of the people they beaten is just nothing to write home about, right? So what's it? Tua, the Browns quarterback, the Tyrod Taylor show, and the JJ McCarthy show. So tonight Joe Burrow comes back from injury, but it's still Joe Burrow and it's still Jamar Chase, no T Higgins, but it's like, man, all things are, we get a great test, but we still should win the game. So the Bengals present a challenge tonight. Certainly down the stretch, you're going to have to deal with the Packers. You're going to deal with the Patriots and the Steelers. So Rodgers, Love, and Drake May, we're going to get an upgrade. It's a nice, you would think, building up, building up some reps here going into the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes experience in the playoffs, assuming they get there. And tonight's a big night. I don't really know exactly what I think is going to happen because part of me feels like the Bengals are going to put some pressure on us, and it's going to come down to the fourth quarter because the Ravens offense just hasn't gotten going. So maybe the Bengals get the lead and the Ravens have to play from behind, and then the offense gets going. I would like to think we could just blow them out, but because I think it's a playoff game for the Bengals and they still think they have a chance. I think it's going to be tight. I think, the Ravens are going to have to hold on here. They're going to have to make some field goals. They're going to have to grind it out. The red zone offense will obviously be the key for both teams because I think both teams should move the ball. But at the same time, Lamar's Lamar, and who knows what we're going to get out of Lamar. So if you're betting on the game, I don't really have too much advice for you. I don't really have a lean one way or the other. My suggestion is try not to bet. You got a bunch of college basketball games, and Navy, Memphis tonight. So, and then tomorrow there's a ton of college football. So I'm going to get out of here in a minute because it's time for Thanksgiving. But tomorrow, Eagles, Bears. I don't know really which way I'm thinking. If I have some bets, I'll put it out there. No pod until Sunday morning. And all right. Yeah, I think that's it. Right. Okay, cool. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks again. And good luck on whatever you're doing. All right, see you guys. All right.